I'm gonna do this.
Hello, everyone. Ifat here with another show of thatgeek.com. Hi, everybody who's in the green room. Great seeing you on camera, Mazi. That's amazing. Today, we are going to talk about something that is just popping up. Did you guys know that with direct checkout, Instagram shopping could soon be a $10 billion industry? So if you have an Instagram account or business, this show is for you. If you're looking to help your followers cross the bridge of trust and enter your business, then you're going to love the conversation I am going to have with Ryan today. So Ryan Balls, if I'm saying it right, Ryan, just nod. Yeah, okay. After growing a creative community of 30,000 creatives on Instagram and being asked daily for advice on how to freelance successfully, our next guest today, Ryan, let me do stuff, transitioned into coaching. And now he's showing creatives how to succeed too. What I did not know about Ryan is that he started in a small surfer town in Australia. So he's in the future right now. And after failing art school, he actually went on to a metal band and he signed up with Sony Records. So Ryan, hey, how you doing? Let me unmute you and say hi.
Hey, Flat. Awesome to be here. I'm doing fantastic.
I know it is 6 a.m. for you. You woke up, oops, this is me again. There you go. You woke up at like 5:30 this morning or even earlier?
Yeah, I got up at 5 just to make sure that my eyes were open enough.
And we're pumped on coffee, so that's fantastic. So you were in a metal band?
Yeah, 2009 we started a metal band. It was actually my second one. The first one I drummed in. The second one I managed and was the vocalist. And we were in that band for 6 years and sort of grew it. And that's where I learned marketing. That's where I learned design. And we took that around the world a couple of times. So yeah, had a lot of fun playing in that band.
And so downtime, you're like, okay, what am I going to do right now? I'm going to try to figure out this design thing.
Yeah, well, I couldn't hold down any job. Worked so many different jobs and little career snippets over the years. But in a band, it made it harder than anything because we were away in the beginning on weekends. And then that sort of got longer and longer to sort of 10-day, 12-day tours until it was like a month overseas, etc. And no boss that I had was happy to keep me on board during that time. So I had to learn something that I could earn money on the road. And that just coincided with us needing merchandise, like show posters, stickers, logos, social media, you name it. And so we hacked Photoshop and my guitarist said, here you go, let's try this thing out, and started learning, trying to create stuff. The first designs I did were in Microsoft Word, and then they sort of progressed and got better until people kept saying, dude, you've got to charge for this. People, would use your services other than just our band. And that's where the freelance game started. So I started freelancing as a graphic designer and then built an agency while we grew the band.
That is super awesome, actually, because you're taking something that you're really passionate about and there's a need. So you're kind of like, okay, let me figure this out as I go. And it actually turns to something that people really want. So back then, how long ago was that?
I never would have thought it would have turned to what it is now. That's something, I guess, for people listening along is that, you just put one foot in front of the other and build upon it continually, and things mold and take shape along the journey. So yeah, definitely.
I love that. So again, like, how long ago was that? That was like, how many years ago?
2009 to 2015 was the band.
Okay, and, so Instagram existed then?
No. I remember my first band started on MySpace, and then Facebook came around that 2006 or 7, somewhere there. And I sort of refused Facebook for a long time. Maybe many others on the call refused Facebook as well, thinking, like, why would we shift all of our stuff? And then Instagram, I think was 2010? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Check that on a quick Google. But somewhere along the lines there, I'm going to Google it, Instagram came along. And that seemed like a natural shift because that was kind of cool compared to like MySpace to Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm going to check that.
So
But yeah,
while you do check that, I'm gonna let everybody know that you can actually join us in the conversation, and I'm gonna show you exactly where to do that. So in order to join us in the conversation, you're gonna go to thatgeek.com/live. Let me see if I can kind of like find it and show you exactly where to go. I'm that geek. You see that little line there? I'm thatgeek.com/live. You'll find us there and you can join us there. When was Instagram?
it was 2010. So
2010,
9
okay.
years ago. Yep.
So you were on the road, not doing your thing, right? Not doing Instagram, building your freelance business on the side. So what did you use? Use MySpace or Facebook? What did you use then?
That was Facebook, and I remember I had a Facebook page for my early sort of design business names that I had, and that was sort of the sole area where I put up work and pitch clients and all sorts of stuff until Instagram came around, and initially used it as a personal profile. I think most people would have their own personal account until I started tapping into and building a bit of a community there where people said, hey, I started putting up some design work and people started enjoying that. And so I started to build a bit of a community, and it took a while for me to realize, I don't ever say I'm the smartest tool in the shed, to go, wow, there's something about this platform that's really cool and really effective. And that would have probably been 2011, 2012.
I love it.
So it took a year.
It took you a year to do that?
Just to figure out that this is a cool platform.
Yeah. So I'm coming from Google Plus, and which died this week. Everybody, a moment of silence. So coming from Google Plus, everything was around conversations, right? And everything is about comments. And you would move from a comment to, maybe a chat and maybe a face-to-face hangout. And it was this gradual way of getting to know people and actually interacting with them and having really, really deep, meaningful conversation. They could go on for 50 comments, like just 10 people chatting with each other. And then you come to Instagram and there's no interaction whatsoever, right? It's kind of like a like and like claps and maybe an emoji or something. And that's it. And it's like, okay, great. I got 60 likes. Now what?
Yeah. It's very different. I mean, I never did Google Plus, but I got all the warnings in my email this month saying it's going to explode. Download all your stuff now. Which freaked me out because I thought that meant my Google Drive and all this stuff. It was so confusing, this Google Plus. So maybe it was an American thing, maybe international. I'm not sure. I don't remember any Aussie friends talking about Google Plus. But the way you've explained that is now how sort of I feel about Facebook and the conversations we can have either publicly on a profile or privately in a group. And I've just sort of, in the last couple of years, really enjoyed tapping into that again because I hated Facebook for so long.
Me too.
But yeah, Instagram is a very different platform, right? I remember the goal early on was like, oh, who's going to hit 100 likes on their photo first this week? Or can you do that consistently? And so in terms of psychology, the initial sort of game or the play that we were trying to roll is who can put up the best photo that got the most engagement at the right time of the day, especially in a band, we're doing this in a band, that would hit 100 likes, and it was a celebration of he or she got 100 likes. That's wow. And it wasn't about building community, and it wasn't about, getting to know your audience at all. It was this sort of nihilistic, is it nihilistic? No, narcissistic, that's the word I'm looking for, narcissistic thing, which it still is, for all of us that are on social platforms. This dopamine rush that floods our brain, which is sort of the deeper aspect of the psychology of what happens. And some people do it for those reasons, and some people do it for other people and to help others. But either way that you're doing it, it's because of the thing that floods our brain. And if you're connecting that to your business, people will often say to me, oh, you're on Instagram so much. My first response is, well, you must be as well if you've seen my stuff.
That's true.
To know that. But secondly, it is my business and it is my people and it is my community. So, you've got to juggle that and make sure that you balance it as well. But yeah, it started out just with this thing and turned into how do we actually build some like conversation within comments that might lead to direct messages where it might be a little bit more personal and able to aid someone. And for me, as my community grew, I was helping people one-on-one for a long time until sort of, the time started to go up, you know, and the amount of people that I could help continually, started to get less and less, because I was like, far out, I need to, put bread on the table, and this isn't doing it. So I needed to figure out a plan to sort of get people into some place and build a community, because obviously, as you've said, Instagram doesn't quite hit those levels. And so that's probably when Facebook groups I was late to the table on Facebook groups as well, but they've been exploding for the last 2 years now, maybe more. And so that's when I birthed, the Create or Die Tribe, which is, a group of creatives from all over the world. We've got over 50 plus countries of creatives in there with the same mission to be freelancing full time and doing incredible work for people all over the globe.
I love it. So I wanna dive deeper into that, but before that, I just want to let everyone know. So first of all, Julio, great joining us. Thank you for inviting your friends. Tyler is here. Jose is here. Guys, if you want to join us, this is the place to be. Oh, I missed it again. Let's see. So this is the place to be. I'm.geek.com/live is where you can jump in and have a conversation with us. And also the other thing that you can find on that page is a workbook by Ryan that talks about Dream Client Accelerator. And we're going to dive specifically into that. We're going to talk about how to find your clients, how to find your dream clients, how to create a rockstar selling proposition, and how to use Instagram strategies and social media strategies to actually attract them to you very, very quickly. So all that jazz is found on am.geek.com/live. If you guys want to hop in right now and let us know that you're there, that'll be fantastic. So there's no conversation on Instagram. It's very difficult to do that. There's no community on Instagram. And yet, it is built up as this amazing thing, that amazing tool that you can use to build your business. So I'm going to throw one of my mottos there and then we'll see how you're going to, because you cannot pay your rent with Instagram hearts, right? So even if you got 1 million Instagram hearts, what does that really mean for your business? So how do you, Ryan, use Instagram to build a community? Where is your community? And what's your secret?
Yeah. What's my secret? Well,
what's your secret?
Time, it was purely kept on Instagram, and built a community there where I could, have some conversation with people and build plenty of relationships, which was awesome. But as I mentioned, I quickly realized it wasn't the place where it was sort of one to many. So you've got the leader or the owner of the account talking to many people at once, but those people aren't communicating with each other. Very rarely those people would be reaching out or responding to each other in the comments, right? So it was just this one, singular binary conversation. And I did that I ran it that way for 4 years as I started to build my art freelance side of things, and that creative community grew. But now the switch it's like, okay, cool. I need to start, it's like sparking a fire on Instagram where it's easy for people to find you. On Facebook, for example, it's hard for somebody to find you. They're not scrolling their feed and you pop up. It doesn't work like that. So Instagram being a platform where if you go into the search bar, which is the second little tab along on your bottom bar on the app, and you flick through there, it starts to propagate images and videos and content based on what you like. It's the whole algorithm of things that you've looked at, liked, commented on, clicked on, searched for. It'll start to bring those things up more and more common.
Okay, pause for a second. This is important because most people think that to be found on Instagram, you need to really master hashtags. But you're saying that if I started searching hashtags, then Instagram would be like, okay, she's only interested in chocolate, chocolate milk, dark chocolate or something like that. And it starts going to bring up even a new user who's just using chocolate without the hashtag. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to search hashtags for it to come up. Like, for example, if you looked at my Instagram and I showed you mine and you flick through it, it's a whole bunch of videos that have Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, like all the boxes of every era because like I love boxing and sure that's got nothing to do with the creative and my business and stuff, but that's what I like. The videos I love watching on Instagram. So it's cool as well if you want to catch up friends to see the stuff that they search because it'll come up in their thing. So you can say, show me your search menu or your explore page. And if they've got some weird stuff in it, it's because that's what they like looking at, right?
For better and for worse, right? For changing.
So it's a fun party trick you can play on people. But if you look at mine, it's just all boxing and Teslas, cars and stuff.
So I just started. Let's say I just started my Instagram, right? I'm a complete newbie, and I post something first, or do I search for something first and then I'm like, okay, well, maybe I need to do a business and then I'm going to put some stuff out there, but Instagram is going to show based on my search result. Is that what you're saying?
In the early days, it doesn't matter too much. Yes, hashtags, you do have to use hashtags. And so if we want to talk about that for a little bit, I think that'll be quite helpful to
let's do that.
The guys on the line. So let's say you post up a picture of, say, like one of these, art murals behind me, okay? And the things that you would hashtag need to be relevant. So they can't be like cooking or travel or vacation. It needs to be, art, creative, and then based on those, you need to use hashtags that, if you've got a small account, meaning sort of 0 to 1,000, 0 to 5,000, you need to use hashtags that also have a smaller amount of users on them. So,
if anyone wants a smaller amount. Interesting.
If anyone wants to get practical and open their phone now, you can go to the explore page or the search area and type in a hashtag that might be relevant to you. Might be business. And if we look at business, that's going to have like millions, if not billions of people that have used that hashtag. Okay, so we want to get those numbers down when you've got a smaller account, meaning you might use business, like it might be business artist. And if you put those two words together as a hashtag, it might only be 10,000 uses. So the more elaborate the word or the concept, the less amount of uses that hashtag will have. So when you've got a smaller account, you need to use hashtags that have less, they've been used less. And as your account grows, you need to start using bigger hashtags. The main reason for that is when someone is searching, say, business artist, and there is the top 9 or so posts at the top of the page, you're hoping that your post will get into there based on the amount of comments and likes and engagement that your post gets. So the more you can land in the top 9 of those posts, people will see them as they head to that hashtag, the more likely you are to have them come and follow you and check out your work.
Okay, so yeah, so if I love that you say that, it's completely counterintuitive. So the idea is like everybody's searching by hashtags, right? Like, so we assume everyone's searching by hashtags, and now you want to narrow down on your audience and you want to get in front of your audience. You need to go like, okay, I'm not looking for everybody in business. I'm looking for a business owner, right? Like a little smaller one, a business owner in Austin, a business owner in Philadelphia, right? And then you get right in front of those people. So assume, and then they start following you based on that one hashtag, or do they look at everything that you have already and they go like, okay, that's my guy or my girl?
Yeah, they might go, business cooking owner, and they go to that hashtag. They might see, all they see is photos. So they're just going to click on a photo that catches their attention. Hopefully it's yours. And if they like the photo, then they might click through to your profile. Okay, so that's how people like jump the fence to get
into a rabbit hole.
Your yard, yeah. And then based on how your profile is, the content that you provide, the value that you offer with all of your posts, then they might click the blue button and follow you. So that is like how people are slowly entering, the rabbit hole. And that's before, you've even had a conversation with them. People are just looking and searching and things are coming up on their screen, all the time. So the more you can get in front of people in that organic way, that's sort of like, numero uno. That's the first rule.
Got it. And so do you have any kind of like etiquette of someone liked your picture? Do you go to their profile and you're going like, hey, thanks for liking? Do you DM them? Like, well, you have to direct message them only if they follow you, right? Otherwise, you can't direct message them, or how does that work?
Couple of things there. In terms of the etiquette side, it's going to be impossible. Maybe early days, you might want to go and give some love back to people that share it with you. But as you get like maybe 100 followers, and you get 30 or 40 or 50 likes per post, it's so impossible to continually go and let someone know thank you for liking the post or what have you. But you want to generate within your copy, which means your caption of that photo, some interest and some curiosity to have them comment on the post and engage with you in some format. That might be asking them what their favorite thing is about, this cooking, if you've got a cooking page, about the meal that you've cooked, what their favorite thing is to cook, how often do they cook, relevant to your space and your niche. You need to start conversations on most posts. Instagram is really highlighting posts that have fast engagement, meaning, get some fast comments and some fast traction on there, because obviously they want their platform to be a very popular one. And so therefore, those posts and those people that they see getting a bit more engagement, they are lifting up in their algorithm a lot more. So that's etiquette, a bit of algorithm. And then the second part of your question was about the direct message, right?
Yes.
So we've chatted before. I'm not sure if we've chatted on Instagram, but if we hadn't, and I sent you a message, there is the inbox, which everyone should be familiar with. That's like an email inbox. It's, like a Facebook message. Then there is a request section. That might be like your junk mail on, email. That might be like your request on Facebook. And so it doesn't come up, in the most obvious form. So people have to click on the request and they can click on your message and read it, but it doesn't show you, the sender, that they've actually read the message unless they allow the message. They've got two options, either to allow it or decline it. So 2 examples, someone might send me a message, say, hey, I listened to your podcast, absolutely loved it. I will allow that and say thank you. Then another person might message me and say, hey, do you want to grow your following? I would just immediately decline that because it's just,
spam.
Just spam me.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're getting comments here where they're saying we cannot put a URL in the post. So there are tools that allow you to do that, right? I'm using Gamber.
You'll never be able to put them in the post. That's a great question, and it's kind of a good thing. I'm not sure if Instagram will ever make that native in the platform, but this is how this psychology element works when, especially with copywriting. So you're going to put up your post and you've literally got the first 2 lines on Instagram that as people scroll, that's what they can see before they expand the comment. Okay. And if you've got long text, you might have 10, 20 lines of text copy.
Yeah.
So the first 2 lines are really important to stop that person. You've got to think about how they're using it. So they're sitting on the toilet or on the bus or, in their bed and they're scrolling. They're just trying to get these dopamine hits that are flooding their brain and, bam, bam, bam. Videos will stop people, but images are harder, right? And so the image, number 1, has to grab their attention. Number 2, those first 2 sentences, the first tiny bits of copy have to get them to click and open or expand the text section. Or comment, so if it says a great one to use is like, hey, where are you from? Let's connect, something like that. People love telling people where they're from. And maybe if you're on this call, maybe pop into the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from. I would love to know, just as a personal research, where are you tuning in from? I'm in Australia. Where are you guys from? Here we go, Florida, California. So I love both of those states.
Austin.
Austin, Texas. Yep, I've been there as well. See, really cool, easy to engage with. And I will use that on an Instagram post once a month. It's great to know where my new followers are from. It's great to have, maybe old followers that I've missed connect in. And I'll just say, so cool, I'd love to travel there and respond to them. I've been there, that's awesome. How's the snow out there? Okay, so they're just small engagement pieces.
Okay, pause for a second, Ryan, because when you're talking about the engagement, you will reply to their comment on the stream. It's not going to be a one-to-one, right?
Great. Yeah. Thanks for pausing me. Always reply. Yeah.
Always
To
reply.
somebody.
Yes.
Yeah. It sort of doubles your engagement, right? They've left a comment, you've responded, double the engagement. It
I
helps
know. I
with
always
those.
say, like, what's the fastest way to double your comments? Just reply to each and every one of them, right?
Exactly. It takes time, but people really recognize that. And again, it's another dopamine hit to the brain where they go, wow, Ryan responded to me. I never thought he would ever do that. And, I get that dopamine rush when someone I look up to or someone I follow responds to me. I go, whoa, they actually responded to me with a thoughtful comment.
I know. And then you
So-
discover that it's their social media team, and you're like, oh.
So funny. I actually had an experience where I was messaging two different people, actually, high-level entrepreneurs. I won't mention any names, but you know of them. Well, it's super cool. And I was chatting away, and then I also knew one of their marketing managers, and she reached out and said, that's me chatting to you while he's asleep because of the time zone difference.
Oh.
I take care of the account, during the PM. I just thought it was hilarious. It's so funny.
You know what's funny? So there's this internet marketer I keep trying to get in front of, Frank Kern, if you hear me. So I'm hitting him on every platform that you can think about, right? Like, hey, and I'm commenting and I'm showing up, and I'm like, dude, come on, let's talk. So finally he shows up on LinkedIn, and I reached out to someone else that we have in contact. I was like, hey, can you just let him know I'm trying to connect with him, because that'd be cool. And by the way, guys, that's another strategy. If you want to connect with people and you have someone in common, just ask the person in common if they like you to make the connections. So she's like, yeah, let me see, let me ask his permission first. And all of a sudden, like a few days later, I see, hey, he accepted your connection request. And I'm like, sweet. So the next message that comes up is like, hey, do you want us to help you with your Facebook ads? I'm like, oh, dude, come on. So I was like, you know what? No, I don't. But I want to talk to you. And so then he goes like, about what? And I was like, who am I talking to? Like, am I pitching the team? Am I pitching Frank? So that doesn't happen. But, patience and just being a human and adding value, that will build your relationship, right?
Big time. Yeah. Let me close the loop on the
Yes.
links side of thing here. So in your copy, as someone reads through that, at the very end of that, once you've given value or you've shared something, personal, something, of value, at the very bottom, you've got the chance because they've read so far. And that person that's read the longest, they're the most invested in you and your brand, to say, if you've got a link that's a video or a PDF or your website or something cool, that you can send them to, is to say, hey, P.S., if you'd like this, or if I could add more value here, head to the link in my bio. And that's where then they'll go over to your profile, click through, and, like anything, as someone lands on your site, you've got a funnel of people, people that land on it, people that actually opt in, people that take action, etc. So as you learn more and more about the insights of Instagram, and you've got to set yourself up with a business account if you're going to use it as a business account, you can study the amount of traction that a post will get based on the copy or the image that you've used. And so something that I really try and keep track of is when I put a post up that has some value and at the end says, hey, if you want to join our free Facebook group, head over to the link in my bio and look forward to seeing you on the inside. I will then keep an idea of, okay, it's had 1,000 people, see this post, 100 of them clicked to my profile, 20 people clicked on my website link. So you can start to see those percentages of like an open rate, a click-through rate based on your Instagram, which is really powerful.
It is. It's almost like an email link.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So before we continue, hey, Gary, you join us from England. And Ronald is here and Rashid is here. So guys, hop on over to amthatgeek.com and let us see you in real life and say hi. This is the link right here. So Ryan, there's different paths, it seems, in Instagram, right? So there's the regular path that you just mentioned, which is hashtags, images, profile, comments, and then link in the bio. And then there's the extra layer, which is the stories, and then swipe to buy and swipe to visit and all that stuff. How does that work?
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Don't get overwhelmed by this. Just start with the posts and then work your way up. With the stories, I learned this from Russell Brunson a couple of years ago. A really cool way that he used as an analogy to think about Instagram stories. It's like a sitcom. It's like a reality TV show where, if you're familiar with Seinfeld, it's just your day-to-day life showing people behind the scenes. Yes, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can, do tutorials or little tips or add value, share books that you've been reading, podcasts. And then over time, you've got, as you build rapport and people start enjoying what you're doing, you've got the opportunity to say, hey, I also built this thing over here. It might be useful to you. Check that out. Now, in terms of swiping up, you can't do that, unfortunately, until you have 10,000 followers. But you can sneakily use Instagram TV, which is another layer on top, video format, but people can swipe up to that no matter how many followers you do have. So there are a couple of things there. But in your stories, I would just simply start, doing, 3 to 4, 5 different posts a day or a couple of days, just to show people what you're doing, how maybe you do some things, ins and outs of your business, and a little bit of value along the way as well. That can really engage them. You can ask questions, you can hold votes, you can do a poll there and really get some instant feedback from your audience. Hey, do you guys like PDF downloads or do you like videos? And they will tell you. And it's been a brilliant way for you to go and create the thing that they've just told you they liked.
I love that. One of the things that Gary Vee always says is like, have you heard of his $1.82 strategy? Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
So you probably explain it a lot better than I do. Do you want to dive into that?
Yeah, it's been a while since I remember it, but it's about going through and leaving, a penny or a cent. Which
2
one is
cents.
it?
So it's kind of like, you go through Instagram and you find conversations that you can respond to, and you respond on them. So rather than spending a lot of time creating content, you're going out there, and the same way that you want likes, right? You go and like other people's stuff, and you leave you 2 cents. That's why it's $1.82. So you leave 2 cents, 2 cents, 2 cents on different accounts, and that way you build a relationship. Because if you comment something meaningful, they're gonna go to your account and go like, "Who's that smart guy that likes me?" And then they'll follow you.
Yeah, it's simple reciprocation, right? If I smile at you, generally you will smile back to me. If I put my hand up to give you a high five, you're probably going to give me a high five back, unless you're...
Don't leave me hanging.
Yeah, don't leave me hanging, right? And so it's the same, in the comments. If you are on someone's account and responding to their followers, they're going to notice that. One, the account owner, who might be famous and hard to get in touch with, they're going to notice you responding to their followers because that's their audience.
Yes.
And then secondly, their audience is going to notice because you're helping them before maybe the owner of the account has gotten to them as well. So that's the $1.82 strategy. If you just spend 10 minutes a day, really intentionally going about adding value to other people's audiences, it will come back to you as well, for sure.
So is that, again, guys, I want to remind you that on the page, amthatgeek.com/live, you have a downloadable worksheet that walks you through the exact same steps that Ryan uses to attract his own dream clients. You can download that, that's free. So before we join user interaction, I just want to ask you a few more questions. So about that guide, right? So step 1, you were talking about, how do I find the dream clients that I want to work with? How would you use Instagram and social media to do that?
Oh, so much fun. It's like, think of Instagram like Google, right? You can put anything in there and have a look at what comes up. So again, in that search menu, you can type whatever the business or the niche or the person, the prospect that you'd like to work with. You can either track down someone individually or businesses, right? And they might be local, it might be a group of real estates, but you've got local establishments. And you can find them, and the smaller the account, the easier it is to sort of get in touch with that person. So if we're using, a cafe locally, you'd be able to find them on Instagram. They'll probably be highly active, and you can build the relationship by starting to get involved in their comments and liking their things, replying to their stories, which simply means as you watch their stories, you can send a reaction or reply to it and say, wow, I love that, whatever the compliment is. Before finally, once they've maybe responded to you in the comments, send them a direct message. And it's as simple as that. And it does take a little bit of research to find. Some people aren't on Instagram. Most people are though. And most businesses are as well. And just how, depending on how you sort of build that relationship and that rapport initially, will then allow you the opportunity to speak with them either via a message or jump on a call with them, maybe a Zoom call like this, and and offer them the value that you've got.
I love it. So it's always, there's this saying, if you want a friend, be a friend first. So that's exactly it, right? Everybody has content calendars. Everybody's producing videos. Everybody doing all that stuff. And then they're waiting for people to like, okay, someone pay attention to me. I spent so much money and time on this. So you're going to be that one paying attention, and you're going to be the one grabbing the attention because you're the only one who's actually paying attention to other people, right?
It's still such, like, there's so much opportunity for it. Like, yeah, more and more people are learning how to do that. But like, it's still, a pebble in the ocean as to how many people are out there actually adding value and building relationship properly.
And another good tip is another Gary V, big fan here, is he says, don't create, document. So have you found that in your life? Because you're like, okay, what am I going to share on Instagram today? What do I need to create? A lot of people are coming from the mindset of like marketing. How do I write about my business? How do I, what's the best image that will get people to buy from me? And there's a reverse twist on it, right? So I think you're doing a lot of that where you're just going live and you're just streaming yourself.
Yeah, and there is like a bit of a, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but there's, when you document versus create, I learned that from Gary as well. Definitely, 100%. The way I would do it though is document by the stories. And when it comes to your posts on your actual public feed, I would keep them at a professional level or a clean level, meaning, it's really nice. So this morning I got in here and I just said, hey, I'm going live on an interview, come join us. Like, it's dark outside, it's really early. Like, that's a process of documenting. Really simple. People are like, oh, he's up early. That's what he's doing right now. Okay. But on my feed, it might be like a piece of content talking about how to manage low budget clients, and it's much more in depth, and it's maybe a photo of me speaking to a group of creatives or, in my zone, a really nice photo. So that's the separation between sort of documenting versus creating. And then same on YouTube, you can do the same. You can document on YouTube or Facebook as well as things are happening and share what's going on.
I love it. So, the title of our show is Instagram Psychology. Is there anything different in the psychology in Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or is kind of like social media psychology is kind of like the same across the board, just like we were saying, be a friend first? Or is there anything special about that?
Yeah, I think engagement is the winner of psychology. So I mentioned it before, dopamine, which floods our brain, and it's essentially the distraction drug. Whenever dopamine floods our brain, it's because we've been distracted by something. Phone's rung, someone's knocked on the door, a notification has popped up. Like right now I can see my Facebook tab, and if you guys are on Facebook and you see when you get a notification but you can only see the tab, there's like a little bracket and one, or depending on how many notifications. Right there, it's stealing my attention to say someone has said something, commented somewhere, liked something, watched something of mine, and it's like wanting to steal my attention. So when it comes to Instagram and Facebook, what we're trying to do is get people to engage, not from like a sick point of view of like, I just want them to engage with my stuff. It's because it helps build community, and it also helps them align and, come in and be a part of your audience as well. So whether it's Facebook, putting up a post and asking people, what the biggest thing they learned in their business was, and they start to, all put it there, or putting on Instagram, it's all the same. You're still looking for engagement, and you're looking for that dopamine release in your audience as well.
So when you're building a community, were you taking them out of Instagram into somewhere else in order to connect with them? Yeah,
so I started that about 18 months, 12 months ago. Mm-hmm. I created my Facebook group, and I started saying, hey guys, Instagram is awesome, but like, honestly, we can't have proper discussion here. come jump ship, join our Facebook group. It's free, and let's continue the discussion and like share a whole bunch more value. So essentially, that was the switch. And based on my link in my profile, people could jump straight over to my group.
I love it. I'm always under after Google Plus died. My new motto is don't build your home on rented properties, right? So eventually you have them, I'm assuming, in an email list as well, and like your own community, like there's a way to reach out to them outside of all these social platforms. Is that right?
Yeah, and Facebook and Instagram went down like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. And I mean, there's multi-million, 8-figure business owners going, crap, where are all my people gone? Like, I can't get my ad up today, or my post up, or my interview that was meant to happen today. And so, yeah, the importance of building an email list is stronger than it ever was before. That's something I remind my community of, especially when things go down. Gaining those emails.
Oops, sorry, I muted you, and I intended to mute someone else who's making noise.
Okay. Yeah. Moral of the story: definitely build your email list as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a question from Emma, who's asking, "What's the sign say behind your head?"
Which one? This one says "fail often and succeed sooner." Can't remember who said that. Maybe a few people have said it, but I'm just a big believer. I've failed so many things, and I think helps me on the process of finding success in different areas. And then this one is he must increase and I must decrease, which is John 3:30.
What is that?
That's from the Bible. So the book of John, and one of the verses.
Jewish me knows the Bible by heart, right?
Of course.
So Stuart has a question. Stuart, let's bring you in and unmute you.
Awesome.
Let's see. You're unmuted. Hop on in.
Stuart, what's up?
Oh, well, it's fascinating to listen to you because I'm a complete, absolute dunce when it comes to Instagram. I know more now in the last few minutes than I've known for ever since it came on the scene.
Awesome.
It sounds to me like getting truly involved in Instagram, while G Plus was our time consumer, it may be a little bit more difficult to get that interaction going unless you've really got a pretty severe time commitment. Sure. I would like to see the person come out to a live stream broadcast like this. That would be my preference in some ways. Any thoughts on that about time commitments, etc.? Yeah,
it's definitely one to take note of. And I mean, based on, your lifestyle, it's totally up to you. If at a minimum, I would just suggest, once you've woken up and had coffee and gone for a walk and breakfast, after you've been up for about maybe an hour in the day, I don't like to touch my phone before that. Then go on there and spend, 10 minutes or 15, 20, whatever you can dedicate to it, to respond to people after the night, to reach out to people, to send some love to, people that you follow, strangers, etc., meaning leaving comments and showing appreciation. Just do it in a block and just set a timer if it's as simple as that, and just go as fast as you possibly can. And once the time is done, that's all you can do. So I would do that, and maybe, if that means do it before and after your working day or at a lunch break, just schedule in whatever works for you.
I find that you've got an interesting vocabulary for what you do. Certainly G Plus was unique in what we did too. So sometimes the biggest problem was actually understanding the sentence. So perhaps a definition of all the terms on Instagram as a PDF might be really useful for us newbies.
Awesome. Hey, that's fantastic feedback. Thanks, Stuart. Appreciate that.
Well, thanks.
So, and Trudy says, Trudy, I want you to unmute. She shares that she does exactly that. She does the $82 strategy, where she comments most and then she shares once a day. So, Trudy, I want to know, how's it working for you?
Well, in 3 weeks, I'm now up to 440 followers.
Awesome.
And I get a lot of people responding to my comments. They don't always follow, but it's been interesting meeting some people.
That's
And
fantastic.
when
And
people have liked my items, I look at what they do, and
There
I
you go.
like some of theirs. So,
and that's the base. Like if you can get those basics down of like, hey, if you like someone's, they might check you out, etc. That's sort of the economy on Instagram for sure.
I find it much easier than Facebook.
Awesome. That's so cool. And do you have a question at all while I've got you?
Do you post? I see people posting when they have 100 followers, 200 followers, etc. Do you recommend doing that?
Hey, I mean, I did that. I don't think it's like a massive recommendation. I would do it at random times as well. I would say, hey, I've got 147 followers. Thank you to all of you guys. You know, it does show a sign of appreciation, but there might come a time where it only hits certain milestones that you celebrate those wins, I guess. But yeah, totally up to you if you want to do that for sure.
I had
Great
planned 400, and when I woke up this morning, it was 440. So
There you go.
I missed it.
Super cool. No, great question, Trudy.
Thank you.
Trudy, are you selling stuff on Instagram? What are you using Instagram for?
I am selling on Shopify and Amazon and Etsy. I have stores in all locations. I create mugs, and I also sell vintage and antiques, and I sell new items.
And so you're sharing pictures from Instagram, and then your link in the bio takes them to your items?
Yes, it does take them, and the pictures I am sharing are some of the items that I have here at home that I'm staging on the table for Easter and things like that, showing how you can actually use them.
I love that because, yeah, go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
I was just going to say for everybody, I'm not sure how you're doing it, Trudy, but if you've got multiple stores online or places that you want to send people, and you've only got one opportunity to send them via that link, there's a free site or app called Linktree, if you put that into Google, and that will enable you to use multiple links within the one.
Good, because that's been my one thing. It sends them to Shopify.
Right.
I use Shopify more as an engine to load the mugs and stuff into Amazon versus selling on Shopify.
Cool. Yeah, so Linktree, and you'll be able to say Shopify, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, all of them.
Yes. I've
So-
spread
Great.
them out.
So it's basically having like a landing page, if you will, right? For all the other places where they can get all your stuff. Is that what you're saying, Ryan?
Yeah, it gives them a few options. I mean, the more options you give people, the less action they'll take. So keep that in mind as well. That's why one link is powerful. It just sends them to one place. But hey, I've got 4 or 5 options in there as well. Yeah.
I love it. Naftali, Naf, you have a question. Do you want to unmute to yourself? I unmuted you. There we go. Can we hear you?
Kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Naftali, awesome. How are you?
I'm good. Let's see. So a couple related questions to what you're just talking about.
Yeah.
From a branding perspective, I'm not on Instagram yet. That's
Sure.
not the question. But from a branding perspective, I do a whole bunch of different things. Some creative, some kind of psychology, coaching, pretty like executive, high-level stuff. Do you kind of, are you okay with blending everything, or do you feel like you should have a singular brand?
It depends. If you are helping in psychology and then you're also doing cooking classes, yeah, I'd keep them separate. What are maybe some of the other things that you've got going?
Yeah, there is some cooking. There's like some Holocaust projects. There's like a bunch of I have a peace-based podcast. So I kind of, I mean, it's all kind of part of my personal brand. It all kind of does relate together somehow.
Okay.
When you say separate, what do you mean, like separate accounts?
Well, I would just highlight, if you've got separate accounts, it may get difficult. It may take up more of your time, and one might get more attention than the other. I would probably choose the one that is either you're most passionate about, and also puts bread on the table. That's personally, I would go for that. But let's ask maybe everyone in the chat, what do you guys
think about like as an account name, like a business name or a personal name?
That's totally subjective. So I've used my name. I probably switched out of a business name 10 years ago and just started building a personal brand for myself. And I've been able to, segue into different niches and industries over the years. And that's happening regularly as I grow and I learn different things and people come on the journey, but it's my name the whole time. If I called it like it used to be Ryan Bowles Design, that wouldn't make sense if I was talking about necessarily psychology about business per se, right? It's got an attachment to it. So I think a name is a really powerful thing. If you look at the biggest brands in the world, they are all people's names. And I think that's a fascinating thing, but sometimes we undervalue the power of our name.
Right. And then can you just say a little bit more about how you differentiated between the story and the posts?
Yeah, sure. So a story I would use for sharing different things that maybe aren't quite necessary to what you are trying to help people with. For example, you might have listened to a great podcast and that'll be valuable to your audience. You say, hey, check out this podcast. And it might be a screenshot. Or it might be a video of, hey, I'm heading into a meeting right now with XYZ. I'll let you know how it goes and maybe some of the learnings that I took from it. It might be sharing, a piece of wisdom or a piece of advice via a story, something like that. Then via your page, sure, you can share those things as well, but that's where I would align much more strongly to the one thing that you're looking to, highlight and showcase to the world.
Cool, that's clear. Thank you.
No problems.
So there are ways to, Trudy says, to start the account and then split it to different things and then kind of like organize it and categorize it. Is that a PhD level or is that something beginners should look at?
I'm not sure exactly what that means. On account to begin and split it takes a lot. Maybe to create separate accounts with the brand that you've built. If you've built a psychology cooking brand personally and then you split it, meaning you create separate accounts, that will take time and effort and energy and maybe lose some of the run rate that you've got. I'm not sure if that's exactly on the right path.
So we'll ask her. So Trudy, you should jump in. And before Mazzy is asking about story insights. But before we dive into that, all those videos that we're doing on Instagram, they disappear after 24 hours, right?
That's correct. You can add them as what's known as a highlight, which without showing you guys, it might be hard. Let me show you and see if you can check this out. So let me see here. Hopefully you can see my account. So
yep. Yeah, we can see.
This is your natural feed. And then at the top, underneath your bio, you've got these circles that you can add on a story, which is known as a highlight. These can last forever. So people can then click on one of these and it'll take them to whatever the story is. You can see here.
And how do you create those highlights?
They're known as highlights. So you create them once you've posted your story or an old story. You can go back to your archive and the bottom right-hand corner will give you a little circle area and you click on that and it allows you to create a highlight.
Okay, and so how do you create a story? This is me, dummy dum. I know you can upload an image and then you can take a picture and then you can also record a video, but what's the difference between uploading the image and creating a story image?
Let me show you from the feed again. Everyone knows the feed that you swipe along.
Yep.
If you swipe to the right, that will open up your stories where you can film something. You can see here it's the camera.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if you swipe left to go back to your feed, I'm just simply swiping across the screen to the right.
So the only way you can add an image to that story is from the computer, from Facebook?
No, you can click, there's a little image down the bottom that opens up your camera roll.
I love how clean your phone is.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's a little image there which will open up all of your images that you've taken, your videos that you've created, things that you've downloaded onto your phone, screenshots, etc. And you can then share those to your story.
And so would your strategy be My entire feed is just my brand and the image that I want the world to have. My stories will be kind of like the document day by day, right? You would have a bunch of them and you document them, and then you would archive them under highlights, and that would become your entire Instagram strategy.
Yeah, that's a great strategy to start building off of. Exactly.
Gotcha. So does that make sense to you all, guys? Just nod, just be like, yeah, I can do this.
Cool.
Love that, Naf. Yeah. Awesome. So we got 5 more minutes for one last question. Anyone here has one last question that you want to ask? Just nod, no. So the one thing that I think we all want to do is kind of like follow each other and see what everybody's doing. If you guys are going to leave your Instagram handles in the chat, it will disappear after the show is over. So what you want to do is you want to go to thatgeek.com, the page that you joined on to join this call, and just put the comment in the comment, put your handle, and then everyone can follow that, and we can engage, comment, interact, friends, DM, and become like Instagram masters. Are there any Ryan, before we leave, one question I wanted to ask you at the beginning. When you started, what was it like at the beginning? You're here in a band, you're on a bus, right? You're doing hard rock metal. You're kind of like trying to figure out design and all that stuff. What was the transition like between, from there to being the coach that you are today?
It's been a lifelong journey. It started a long time before that. I credit my parents with everything inside of me. That I saw them on stages and dealing with small groups of people and one-on-one for so long in such a cool space. So I learned a lot just by the nurture within my life. So it's been a journey. Before I knew who Tony Robbins was, I was listening to him and all sorts of people at a young age. So it's been a lifelong journey. And so I guess, my ultimate destiny was always to end up helping people in some way, shape or form. And finding that path has led through a metal band. It's led through being a personal trainer. It's led through going to conferences and becoming a designer, to finally find some people that I really love hanging out with, and to help them on the level that I am right now. And hey, I can't tell you in a year's time, 5 years time, 10 years time who I'll be helping, but I'll be helping somebody.
So you've done so much in your life, right? Can you tell me about a moment where things did not work out the way you wanted them to?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if we want to end on a somber
Now we're
note.
going to end with Noah's question, but I just kind of, I want something personal aside from like just strategies.
Okay, sure. The most personal thing I can share with everybody and yourself was a day in 2012 in November when I was studying for an exercise science exam, which I really didn't have too much interest in. And I got a phone call from my mum to let me know that Dad may have been in an accident. So I raced home, and my dad, being a mechanic and loving all things engineering and anything that moved, he'd been flying that day with a friend of his in a small plane, and they'd come across some technical difficulties and had to make an emergency landing, which turned out for the worst, killing both of them in the crash.
No way.
And for me, having my dad as like the number one, man, father, person in my life that I looked up to, that taught me absolutely everything I know, literally, brought my world to the ground in an instant, where I thought I was on a direction and I thought I, had purpose, and everything around me, just stopped. And so definitely that being the most difficult day and time of my life, almost 7 years ago now, was one that I have had to work through really intentionally and consciously, and hasn't been easy, but I tell you what, it builds something in you that nobody else can take away from you. And I give all credit to God for the peace that I felt during that time, and to my family and the friends that I've made along the way. But it's definitely built empathy inside of me that I'd never felt before that day. So yeah.
Wow. I did not. That's why you were like, do you really want to, you're sure you want to end on this?
You asked the most personal thing, right? So that's what I've got to share. So if anyone has been through that sort of experience or losing someone, feel free to reach out to me as well. More than happy to chat or share anything that helps me along the way as well.
it's it's such of life journey, right? Like we all know that our parents are going to pass one day, but we're never ready for that moment when that happens, especially when it's very sudden.
Yeah. You know what? I've never shared this before like this. I loved my parents so much that as a young boy, I cried myself to sleep at points, imagining the day that I wouldn't have them with me. And thinking back to that and to think that how things have turned out, I don't know what, it's been the most craziest thing, but that's how much love and adoration I had for them and still do.
Hey, that says a lot about your parents. So
Yes.
I'm very sorry you lost one of them. You still very close to your mom? Like, do you live close?
Oh,
Do you see
yeah.
her often?
Oh, she's the best. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So that must have been very hard to be on the road in a way.
Yeah, we Dad died, and like 8 days later, we had a commitment to be interstate playing a festival and a bunch of shows. And far out, one of the toughest things I've ever had to do was get on that plane. That's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry to hear that, and definitely don't want to end on that note. So
So you had a question. Someone had a question.
So let's ask the last question from Noah. Noah was asking, is can you design a story? How can you design a story? Back to strategy.
Okay. Cool. Really great strategy. Great question, and something I've worked out. And I'll give you guys this piece of strategy, and you can play with it and build however you like. You know, it's so malleable. Is a 3-story strategy, and meaning there's going to be 3 certain posts that go up that lead to the final one. And I would use what's known as the poll, the voting system within Instagram, to ask 2 questions before giving them the answer that you've wanted to find out all along. So one story might be, if we're talking about, let's say you've made a video about how to gain clients, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The first question you might ask them might be, have you ever struggled with gaining clients? Yes or no? People are going to say yes or no. Majority of people are most likely going to say yes. The second question, the second story might be, would you like some help or added help in gaining clients? Yes or no? Majority of people are probably going to say yes. And then the third and final story will either be a call to action or the piece of value or content that you can provide to them to help them on that story that they've just been on. So they've said, yes, I struggle with gaining clients. Yes, I would like help gaining clients. And the third thing is you going, here it is. It's either a video, it's a PDF, whatever the thing is. It's your call to action that's going to allow them to add value in their world. Does that make sense?
Totally, and I love it, and I'm totally going to try to use that. That's fantastic.
Really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come back to you with like, okay, this is what happened, Ryan. Now what?
Just get people in a yes state, and your niche and your audience better than anything. Get them in that yes state, and then give them the thing that's going to add value to them.
I love that. And I love that you're going with the positive. Get them into the yes state. Don't get them into the freak out state where like, oh my God, my world's going to end if I don't do this.
Yeah. But by getting them in the yes state, if you say, do you struggle to gain clients? They're saying yes, but ultimately it's pricking the pain point of like, I do struggle with that thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's where that psychology comes in. But ultimately, you're looking to help them. So you need to push and prod.
Gotcha. So guys, if you struggle to get clients and if you want to know how to attract your dream clients, on the page that you are on, am.geek.com/live, you will find a free PDF from Ryan that you can download, and it will take you through the exact same steps of how to find your clients, how to what proposition you should put in front of them to make them actually want this, and then how to use Instagram and other social media to attract them to you and actually get clients. And that's completely free. am.geek.com/live. You can get it now. Ryan, thank you so much for waking up at 5 a.m. This is fantastic. I appreciate that.
So cool. No, awesome to hang out. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, what does the future look like?
Today, I am going camping for the weekend for my friend's birthday, and we're going rock climbing. So it's Friday here, and I'm not going to be in the office any longer, and we're going to go adventure. That's what the foreseeable future holds.
So guys, this is what's in your future. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's fantastic. I love it. I love that you play hard and you work hard and you share so much. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us today. That has been fantastic. We will see you again in 2 weeks, Thursday, every other Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Bye.
Bye.